Well, too bad. We're streaming. There's nobody here yet. I'll show the view though. If I can like put my screen closer. See outside.
This is crazy. I don't think this is a room that regular humans are allowed to be in. No. We must be really special.
Oh, the stream's up and somebody's commented. Let's go.
You're streaming right now.
We're 3 minutes late. I had to start.
Yeah, but we weren't like ready.
No, we're ready now.
Wait, what's the link?
What's the link? It's
Twitch.tv/FAMNM.
Not the, actually. Sorry, this one doesn't have the acronym on the shirt. It has the full First Alumni Mentors Network at Michigan. FAMNM. Welcome to stream, everyone. We're back. Day 2. How many hours in are we? What time? It's 7:30, which puts us at 20 and a half hours. 20 and a half hours in? No.
No, 24 plus 6, so 30 and a half, yeah.
30 and a half hours.
We've still got 40 hours to go.
We're making great progress.
There's something that
Great progress, team.
that our RA3D team does is we stop at least before midnight, and then we come back no earlier than 8 a.m. because it turns out you're actually more productive if you sleep during that time.
Well, we don't have to split here. Actually, you
Lessons
weren't here
learned
for
may
this.
be applied to homework.
There was a time when we did it in shifts where we would have some people here at other times. So like you'd have like one shift that would leave at midnight and then another shift that would leave like 2 or 4. And then you'd come back 8 hours later. We don't do that anymore. We could.
Carter asked the question, how big is our group?
How big is our group? I think we've got like 15 people this year.
Yeah, 12 to 15 people usually are working around
Yeah,
here.
plus a few other people who are here peripherally, like myself. So, day 2. We want to talk about the robot. Who would like to go first, talking about what we've done with the robot today, or at least what you've contributed personally to the robot today?
I can.
Fantastic.
I've not done much mechanical.
Well, it doesn't have to be mechanical. Not everything's mechanical. Probably less than half this year, to be honest. Christian, do you want to take the phone? As fun as the wide shot is.
I don't know how we want to set this up. I'm just
No,
gonna
it's
stand here.
just talk to the camera.
Okay, so
And we'll answer questions as they come, if they come.
we finished the drive base yesterday, which was great. Today we were able to start looking at.
Speak up just a little bit. Sorry.
So you're fine. So today we were able to put on the battery mount, which was just a simple piece, but it's another step closer to being done. We were also able to look at a possible like cone flipping mechanism, which we were planning on just using a stick that would swing out. Which, if we choose to do that, it will be fairly easy to implement into the Kit Parts drive base. We also got the lift working, which or not working, but assembled. We're planning on testing it later tonight, so that is looking good so far. We finished our grabber prototype, which works thus far. We tested it with a drill, and it is very sturdy, very capable of holding and supporting the cone and the cube. And yeah, that's the gist of it.
Were there any mechanical issues or random stuff that arise?
Yes. We actually have been very lucky with how our designs have been flowing together up until this point. But as of about 10 minutes ago, we ran into a mechanical issue where a bolt is blocking our lift from being lowered all the way, which they can actually show you downstairs.
We'll see that soon when we go downstairs to the makerspace.
But that's
right now we're up in our corner office because we're official. Actually, can we give a full shot of this room? I just love this room so much.
This room is crazy. I'll play it up. I'll go in the corner here.
It's incredible.
We got
we're the ones who get to use it.
corner office here.
There's the wide. Yeah, we even have 2 televisions. Yeah. Wow, that's twice as many as I own. Absolutely. Connor, do you want to talk about software, digital stuff?
I can talk about most of my day today was actually electronics work. So Soph and I spent an extremely long time working on the electronics board. So the first thing that we did was we actually CAD'd out the thing. So we looked at all of the dimensions for all the various components. We'll be using a PDP, RoboRio, we use Victor SPXs, and then the VRM and radio. We looked at all of the mounting holes, dimensions, and everything, and we put all of that onto a mock-up board in SolidWorks and made a perfect ideal layout that would be amazing. Our intention was to then take that CAD, put our material onto a laser cutter and then perfectly etch out this amazing design. That way we could just completely bolt and zip tie everything in and have it be amazing.
You know, Connor, I'm gonna have to interrupt you. We have a comment. Carter Stagg says, "Was this the guy that started a fire?" LMAO, and I will say yes.
Okay,
This
yes.
is the guy who started the fire.
When we turned the laser cutter on, after I talked to the attendant if it would be okay to use polycarbonate as a backboard on the laser cutter, it erupted in smoke, and we had to not do that anymore. And our intended electrical board was completely like burnt. There were huge scorch marks.
It wasn't just him. I was complicit in it too.
Yeah, it was the both of us. Yeah.
A team effort.
It was a team effort.
This is why safety is
first.
That's correct. First.
We were wearing safety glasses, and there was a significant amount of air ventilation and such. So if it somehow became anything more, it all would have been taken care of. So with that said, if you're trying to cut polycarbonate, we looked this up. The issue with it is it absorbs the light a lot, so you can't cut very efficiently. So what you have to do to counteract it is go slowly. But because it's absorbing so much and you're going so slowly, it heats up a ton, and because it's got lots of carbon in it, carbon likes reacting with oxygen and fire.
You just have a bad time.
Have a bad time. So a potential solution could be you go kind of quickly over it so it doesn't get super hot, but that doesn't cut very deep. So you have to make 1 million passes, and this was a very large board with 60 holes that we intended on doing. So we did not do that. We also considered using the water jet cutter that we have at the university. The unfortunate problem with that is it only supports a 12-inch by 12-inch square, and our electronics panel was going to be 17.5 by 17.5 inches.
Could you have cut it in sections?
That we could do that. We would then have to turn it into 4 panels and then somehow connect all the panels together securely. So it would probably be fine because it's only electronics, but it would result in a lower quality end product. What we wound up doing was we took our big polycarbonate square and then took a vertical bandsaw, and then cut out our dimensions. And then we roughly approximated where PDP holes would be by first finding an ideal spot by measuring it out, placing the PDP over top of it, and then using a marker inside of the holes, and then just using a hand drill from there while it's securely mounted to a table, so it doesn't fly off and then the drill gets you.
So we ended up having to do it by hand anyways.
We did it by hand.
But we spent several hours learning more about polycarbonate, lasers, and water jets. That's exciting.
6-hour process through that.
6 hours of learning, and who doesn't love that? Am I right?
That's why we're here. We are here to make these mistakes for you. So, with that said, what we did was we just drilled in holes for the PDP and Robo-Rio, and then we used double-sided tape to secure the remaining speed controllers, the radio, and the voltage regulator module. So,
That's incredible.
It was a team effort.
You know, as an update from the chat, I'll say Connor's father looks to be laughing out loud right now. Thank you, Cbot6, for never cut these materials.pdf, linking it in the chat.
I
We'll
found
make sure
that actually.
we
I found that PDF after the
That was
fact.
how we convinced ourselves to put cyanide, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, that is how we convinced ourselves that we had like a mild amount of cyanide exposure earlier, because I searched something related to what happens when you, or like, can you laser cut polycarbonate after the fact? And
It's a good
the
thing to
first
look up
thing
before you
Google,
cut the
because Google
polycarbonate.
makes those little summaries, the first thing it said in bold was, like, it can be a really slow process cutting polycarbonate. And then after that, not in bold, it said also it can release cyanide gas. And here I am, like, what? Freaking out a little bit. And then after half an hour of freaking out, Sophie had to calm me down a little bit, I actually went to the link, and Google's summary was incorrect. The cyanide warning was for laser cutting ABS. Please do not do that. Also, don't laser cut PVC because that releases chlorine gas.
2 bad gases to have around.
Yes. So
See.
we learned a lot about laser cutting today. And we're about to do it again. So a fun little side project that we have right now because our CAD skills are improving kind of quickly. We're going to make this nice acrylic panel, which is safe to cut on a laser cutter, with a halo of a black M on it, and we'll illuminate it from the back. So it'll look great.
Already spending time on aesthetics, day 2.
Indeed.
Incredible.
Because of our programming update. We can't do anything until all of the electrical is set up and the robot has all of its motors in place.
But we're close to that. As we'll see soon when we head downstairs.
Yeah, and that's because, so in the morning we got all of the programming that we can do out of the way, which is researching how to use the April tags. I believe, Krishna, you might be able to talk more about that because all I did was convert your command-based code to iterative.
Do you want to talk about
Sure,
April
I can
tags?
do a little bit.
Lovely. Hello, Krishna.
Hello, yeah, so April tags, they're pretty cool. WPI Lab has a lot of well, not really documentation, but they have libraries, and you can find their code on their website and by doing a few quick Google searches. But turns out you can use their libraries that they provide to kind of just pass in a CV, or I guess an image into their code, and they will return kind of like the distance from your robot, or I guess your camera, to that April tag. And we can use that for like localization and a lot of other things, which we'll talk about more downstairs probably, but we'll see into it. We did a lot of work in there trying to get the camera working. It's still a little bit of a work in progress, but for the majority of it, it's been pretty much set up. So if you look at our GitHub, which is just fan, like everything else we have, you'll be able to see all the code for that, and hopefully that'll get you a quick head start on the vision processing part of things.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Krishna. Is there anything else that we want to cover before we head downstairs, other than just being very excited about this lovely room that they gave us?
One more thing that I forgot to add. So a big portion of why we were able to complete sections of the robot without as many issues as we might have encountered otherwise was because we focused on doing some CAD of the components before we assembled them. We created assemblies of each individual part prior to actually physically putting them together, which allowed us to drill the proper holes and then assemble it in a way that made sense based on the CAD. So for the grabber, we were able to make each individual part, which took a little bit of time, but it was okay, and actually input the game pieces into CAD and then make sure that it all fit together properly and was, all of the wheels and everything were spaced properly so that it all fit together.
So just a little bit of pre-planning with the CAD, and then
Yes.
when we actually got to cutting it out and putting it together, saved us a whole lot of hassle.
Yes, it did, definitely.
Great takeaway for teams. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And I think we're probably about ready to migrate downstairs. Very exciting. Does everyone have their safety glasses? Is everyone ready?
Yes.
Very good. All right, we have a little bit of a walk, so I hope you'll all enjoy this very short impromptu tour of the Ford Motor Company Robotics Building.
Down the stairs.
We're going down the stairs. No elevator for us. We get to see the atrium today. A secret fifth floor?
Yeah.
We can't tell the stream about that.
Don't say it out loud. What are you doing?
All right. Welcome to the main atrium, everyone. Large open spaces. We love them. Perfect for testing new robots in.
Speaking of which,
I wasn't going to film that because we don't have permission from them. That's okay. I forget how reflective these stairs are every time.
it's very confusing
Yeah,
because the mirrors and there aren't mirrors.
well, you know. The Eigen Cafe. Everybody's favorite. I guess we can show that robot lab because there's no one. Oh, there is one person in there. We'll just show a little bit of it. You said they were testing prosthetics earlier?
Yeah.
In the prosthetic lab? Very exciting. We might take a peek into the prosthetic lab. Maybe just a quick look. Looks like all the lights are off, though. That's okay.
You can still kind of see it.
You can see a little bit. Yeah. Anyways, back to the maker space. Here we are. Very exciting. after you all.
You go first.
Nope. Nope, I'm going last. I've decided. The stream gets to see all of you walk inside. Whew.
The intake is mounted.
Ooh, that was not mounted when we left. Very exciting. Dom, do you want to talk? Talk to the stream, Dom.
Sure, I'll talk a little bit.
How do you feel, Dominic?
I'm a little tired, but the coffee's getting me going.
I was going to say, tired? That sounds like a coffee problem.
Well, yeah, it is. Here, wait, let me come around the other side.
A coffee vision problem, if you will.
If you'll zoom in on our intake, so this is our intake system.
Absolutely.
It's run with this R775 Pro. We've got a 10-to-1 gear reduction on here just because that's what we had on hand. And then when you run this, it moves this one and pinches the cone. So it would look
A little bit of
something-
pinching angle.
Yeah, it looks a little something.
And then these wheels are free to rotate
like
as
this.
they will.
Well,
correct?
actually, they're not.
Oh?
If you look,
Oh,
my bad.
that was not attached yet.
If
That's
you look-
okay.
If you look under here, John, there's
Still got 40
there's
hours.
zip ties that constrain the wheels, so they can move a little bit, but they're not free to rotate.
Okay, so just a tiny bit of motion under
Yeah, we
there.
originally had them free to rotate, but the problem was when we tried to grab the cube is much wider than the cone. It would just like shoot out. So we wanted to avoid that.
We can do a strategy recap in a little bit. Right now, we're just going to talk about the robot, Colin. Also, Emma says hello.
That's my sister.
Emma says hello. Hello.
All right, and then it's mounted to this big old 4-bar linkage, as I think we discussed probably yesterday, and the whole thing.
Oh, uh-oh.
I'm moving.
We are moving now.
The whole thing.
We lost the piece that wasn't attached.
That's
We don't need that. It's useless.
So the whole thing moves down. Ideally,
Don't tell the stream that. You can't give them all the secrets on day 2.
ideally it would go all the way in, but currently we're running into an issue where the screw that we're pivoting about for this to fold up and make it like let us be in frame perimeter.
Yeah.
That is interfering with the bolt. So we're gonna cut that off,
Cut the
and we're
bolt
gonna
off.
have just nuts
Gotcha.
on the inside.
Okay.
We have some other strategies if that doesn't fix our problem. But
How tall is this robot?
how tall is this robot? Right
About
at the, right at the height
3/4 of one Dominic.
limit. Yeah, that. It's like it's like a 1/4 of an inch under the height limit.
And the height limit this year, I believe, is 4'6".
Well, the starting height limit, I should say.
Yeah, so starting height limit is 4'6", which puts our robot at 4'5", or
Correct.
54 inches, or 53 inches even. Almost tall enough to ride the rides at a theme park.
That's true.
Dangerously close. Put some bottle caps in the shoes and you're ready to go.
So then
That's
the
real. My parents did that. You ever?
Really?
Anyone else ever have to do that?
bottle caps.
Yeah, bottle caps in your underneath your heels, and you're just slightly tall enough, and you get into that roller coaster.
Just wear
That's a new
shoes
one.
with like thick
Yeah,
heels.
that works too. Like,
That's a new one.
yeah, no, that worked for me.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So then the linkage is all driven by this joint right here.
Absolutely.
So we've got the sprocket running down to this sprocket, and then this goes on the motor. This motor is a sim with a 70-to-1 versaplanetary on it.
70-to-1. Is that the same gear ratio we used last year for our
That is
climber?
for the climber.
Suspicious. Almost like it was repurposed. Curious.
And then this sprocket makes the entire system a 105-to-1 gear reduction.
105 to
It's
1.
unclear if that's going to be super slow or if that's going to be like not enough power or not enough torque. So we're gonna once we have solved our issues down there, we're gonna fix it or we're gonna test it and see what's up.
I just want to let everyone know, so this is unrelated, but there was a comment about someone doing toilet paper in their son's shoes. So I'm not the weird
Toilet
one.
paper is an interesting one.
I'm not the weird one. Someone else has done it too, okay? It wasn't comfortable, but I wanted to ride that roller coaster.
Toilet paper would be more comfortable.
Toilet paper
Well, yeah, it would have been, but I didn't have toilet paper in the car. We had bottle caps from our like water
Go to
bottles.
the bathroom before you go on the ride.
Yeah, but all right, moving on.
Okay, other developments that have happened today. The battery is now mounted.
Oh my goodness,
We've
we
got-
love batteries.
Let me remove it. So we've got this piece of flat stock, this piece of angle stock.
I can't help but notice that this year we didn't decide to cut our our chassis apart.
Well,
for
the only reason we decided that last year is because it was already done on the chassis we were using.
Well, that's true, but you know.
Yeah, we decided not to replicate that so that we could make use of those holes in future years if we need to.
Absolutely.
And then when you slide the battery in, like that, it's not going anywhere.
Oh yeah.
And
That's
then
great.
We've got this piece of flat stock here
Mhm.
where the breaker is going to mount. We haven't quite done that part yet.
That's okay.
And then that leads to the rest of our electrical system. Which
This
has
is the
been
lovely
mounted.
electrical board that we were talking about earlier that
Indeed.
nearly caused some issues, but it
It
didn't.
nearly caused issues?
You didn't know about that?
No.
Interesting. Not everyone was aware of that story. Curious.
Oh,
the incident?
Yeah, trying to laser cut it. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
the
was
incident with
Yes, that was an incident.
Okay, so you are. Oh, that's good.
I am
that's
aware.
Good.
Yeah,
That's
sorry.
good. Very good. Yeah, we didn't.
That's true. We didn't make cyanide.
It's always good not to make sign.
That is
oh,
true.
we have 2 hellos to Raina.
Hello.
Irina.
Yep. We have Kina and I think Madi.
That's my mom and someone from my team, I think.
Very exciting. Hello, Raina.
So this is simply mounted by the. We've got these like upright or not upright. These like angled pieces that provide some more support for this.
Absolutely.
And then we just bent a piece of the same stock to bolt this to, and then we're planning on adding some sort of like angle iron here just to like stabilize it a little
Yeah.
bit. But
Important
that's,
question,
it's
John.
been- yes.
2 questions actually.
2 questions.
First of all, where does the Gorilla Tape come in?
Later. That'll probably unforeseen, but it will.
It'll be
appear,
here.
I'm sure.
We'll have the Gorilla Tape. That
I'm sure-
technology will be implemented.
I'm sure it will appear.
More importantly, of course,
Yes.
where do the LEDs go? I happen to know we have them.
We do have the LEDs.
Yeah. Where are they going, Dom?
No, those are the old ones that are plugged. Don't show them that one. Those don't work anymore.
They still work. They're lighting up. That means they work.
Yeah, like-
That's more than 0. That's extra horsepower.
Someone unplug that one.
What?
Someone give me the power supply for that one.
We want to see the LED. We have more hellos to Raina, by the way. You've got lots of people who are saying hi to you. Like so many.
Oh, that's my team.
Yep. Yeah, and now
Hi,
there are
guys.
23. This is currently our record for views, right?
What are we at, John? What are we at?
23 whole viewers on this stream, and all of them are from Raina's team. Oh my God! Tell us lots about Raina.
Let's not. No, thank you.
Oh, will the intake be able to pick up cones on their side? Who wants to talk about that?
Cannon.
In theory.
Woohoo! In theory. What about in practice?
Haven't quite gotten there yet.
How about in competition?
That's
An even
farther
worse
away
question.
thing.
I know.
So it was designed where, oh, that's the part that moves. You can pinch and it'll just kind of hold it on the the far 2 wheels. We did constrain the 2 wheels from moving too much, so
Yeah.
it won't shoot out.
We talked about that.
But
Perfect.
And then the nice thing we did find out that's a feature, not a bug at this point.
So a feature is that when we lift up the little
Yeah.
wrist mechanism, if
Yep.
you will, then the cone will rotate down. That's great.
Yep.
So we can just put it on the
That
pegs.
won't work if it's backwards though, but it kind of just like, well,
That's tough.
this is a whole other.
Yesterday we were looking at
Can't
perhaps
avoid.
some kind of writing mechanism to write them before we pick them up. Where are we with that? Are we still on about the same page, or have we gotten some new ideas in?
I'm not sure we've prototyped that yet. We were just thinking like a stick on a servo.
Yeah.
Which is fairly.
That's pretty advanced.
very, very. Advanced.
Stick on a servo? That could
I
take us
think
what?
It's actually become passive now, hasn't it? It's become just a stick. that
Just a stick.
falls.
You know what? That sounds
Yeah.
even better, We're going to remove complexity. Everyone loves that.
Yeah. Nobody wants to deal with PWM servos.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Wonderful. What haven't we covered yet? Have I missed anyone that really just needs to talk to the stream right now? By the way, Sophia, someone did say hello to you. I don't know who Thanos Priest is, but they said hi.
Oh, we did code things.
Hi, Nathan.
Oh,
Okay.
I don't think they...
Hi, Nathan.
Very good. Very good. Oh,
Okay, I have no voice right now.
it's okay. It's okay. What do we have going on with the drivetrain? This is a standard Andy Mark kit of parts drivetrain. This is the long chassis, one of the longest chassis of Andy Mark's entire existence, I think. That you might don't fact check me on that, actually.
The latest.
Yeah, do not fact check me. But this is the long chassis, standard Andy Mark kit of parts, same one that you can buy at and pick up at kickoff. I think we gave away probably 50 of them at kickoff. I don't remember the exact number. We had a lot of kit of parts this year. We'll do a full recap. Oh my God, there are 30 people watching the stream right now. This is insane, guys.
It's a new high score.
That's insane. Wow. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll do a more in-depth recap on exactly what's happened at the end of the stream. We have another person saying hi to Raina, by the way.
Hi, guys.
I think the whole stream is just for you, Raina.
I agree.
Pretty sure you're the only one that they care about. Except
Thanks.
for, actually, Sophia had someone say hi, too. I did notice that Connor's dad didn't say hi to Connor this time, which, wow, that's rough.
He was laughing out loud, remember?
That did happen, but that was because Connor almost set the building on fire.
No, I didn't. It wasn't actually a fire.
Yeah, but it was close. You were getting close. I mean, that's good. That's good.
There was no sign.
No fire.
Stop hating on Connor. I 100% aided him about that.
That's true. That's true. All right. I think we're probably going to take ourselves back up to the room
Yeah.
and then we'll probably do a little bit of a recap. We'll talk about strategy. Who wants to go and talk about strategy with me? Coding? Coding things? Oh my God. We talked a little bit about coding upstairs. Let's talk some more.
We've started on our
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm a little close.
We started yesterday, but we've continued a lot on it, and we've got a good idea of how it should work. Our drivetrain should be working. We haven't tested it on the robot, just in the simulator.
Yeah.
The arm, we haven't also tested that, but that should be a little bit more complexity. If you're looking for examples on how to use feed forward or PID, hopefully this should be an easy introduction to that. We're trying to get vision working. We have a camera that really isn't suited for vision because it's got autofocus and you need like fixed focal length for that, but we'll try our best to get it working. Yeah, right now I'm just trying to figure out why OpenCV isn't working. So if anyone has any ideas on how to fix
OpenCV.
OpenCV errors.
Well, maybe someone's got an idea.
Unsatisfied link error, if you have any idea what that is.
Well,
Because I don't.
are we posting our code anywhere that people could find it and perhaps learn from it?
Yes, we absolutely are. Our
Where
code
would people find
is
that?
at github.com/fam/2023 RI3D 2023 command.
GitHub/fam. Oh my goodness, that's where they can find all of our code.
That's where they can find all of our code.
And
Not
what
just
should they
this year's,
what
but
what
last
should they
year's
do
as
with
well.
that code if they were to look for it?
Learn
From it. That's
learn
right.
from it. Yeah.
That's right. We're going to learn from
the
it.
code.
We will not be stealing it wholesale because you should make something better than
Yes.
us. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. And we're also going to be providing CAD models of everything that we CAD. Is that correct, team? Yes. Yes.
Remember to save them.
If we will be saving CAD. We will be doing that. Saving is important. That way we have a record of our mistakes as well as our successes. Mm-hmm. And once again, please don't steal all of our CAD. You don't want it. It's not that good of a robot, I promise. Make something better. All right, let's go talk strategy upstairs. Who wants to come with me? Anyone? Anyone want to go upstairs and talk? Show of hands? Krishna, you're coming? Yeah, let's go, Krishna. Woohoo! Yeah. Woohoo! Ask Raina if she got my Takis. Raina, did you get Takis for 1GN_16?
Yes, I already know who that is, and I did get tacos.
You did get Takis?
I
That's
did.
fantastic. We love that. All right, let's go. Yeah, team. Keep up the good work, everybody. Okay. Whew. We had a comment that says Krishna is so cool. Hold on. A little bit of a hold up. Piro's coming? Fantastic. The stream loves Piro.
He wouldn't leave without me.
He wouldn't leave. That's, you know what? That's fine, I wouldn't want to leave without Piro either.
Hero, you haven't seen the corner office that we have upstairs.
Oh yeah, have you not seen
You
upstairs?
understand.
Have we not seen upstairs yet? That office is incredible. I almost died when I first saw it. No. We don't need the elevator. We have the fancy stairs with all the, we just had a question from Jack is Giant about Sophia missing Jack is Giant. I am unfortunately not in the room with Sophia anymore. If I remember to ask her, then I will.
I think we missed the question earlier about if we customize our drivetrain. I don't know if you...
We did. I answered a little bit about the drivetrain. I said that the drivetrain is just standard kit of parts from AndyMark, the long chassis.
Do a little cutting,
Yeah, but pretty much just out of the box, long chassis configuration, 32 inches long, 28 inches wide.
We cut the front off.
Did we cut the front off?
Yeah, it's a seam.
That's exciting.
So we cut off as much as we could. So there's only 6 inches of bump on each side.
I see.
There's a 15-inch gap in the middle.
What is the strategy for keeping the robot balanced on the charging station? Well, we'll talk about that once we get back to the room. I'm just having a hard time talking and walking backwards. My apologies. Also, is that a cinder blocks comment? When did that become the idea?
Did you see it? Oh, you didn't see
That
it.
was
You
always
were
the
right
idea.
here.
a picture.
Of cinder blocks?
Yeah, we put a cinder block on the block.
On the robot.
Yeah.
Do we have that much extra weight?
Yeah, the robot's like 50 pounds.
That actually makes sense. There's not a lot going on with the robot right now. But that's okay. A lot of room to add to it,
Yeah.
Maybe we could add
Cinder blocks.
we could add something to pick up discs from 2019. That could be fun.
Well, we wanted to put the hook on there
I
too.
think we should.
Yeah, we do. That's you guys aren't supposed to know about that. The hook will be there. It'll be extra sticky this year.
Oh, okay.
The churro.
What churro? I have no idea what you're referring to. I am not certain what you're saying. Person talking about OpenCV. Ask them to check out photovision.org. Thank you so much. All All right, we're almost back to the corner office. Connor made a great disc pickup. I bet he did. I bet he did. Connor seems like just the guy you'd want picking up discs. All right, the corner office. Here it is, stream. Look at us. This is still my favorite room. It's been my favorite room for the past hour, but it'll remain.
Dinner in this room.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, we don't have a Kroger haul today, stream. I'm so sorry.
It's an Olive Garden.
We have Olive Garden coming soon. God, I can't wait for the garden. Absolutely. Wait, what'd you say, Piero?
I said I did it. I watched.
You watched
saw
the stream?
myself watching the stream.
That's, yep, absolutely. I mean, we got to pump the numbers up somehow. You know what I mean?
What are we at right now?
28? Pretty good. All right. We got to talk strategy. We got to get back on track. As fun as just chatting is. Here, have a marker. Who wants to talk first?
Strategy?
I can talk if someone wants to hold the camera. You want to go first? Here you go. Have a marker. There you go, Krishna. Get in there. Let's draw it out. Let's show the people what we're talking or thinking. How are we gonna win game?
We have a field, right? We're talking about how we're winning games.
Yeah. Let's win some games.
You have a field, right?
We have a field.
Let's assume we're blue, because we're at the University of Michigan.
It's one of the good colors.
So,
Yeah.
Can't figure it.
not right now, okay? Because so this is us.
Absolutely. Do you want the blue
Is
marker?
there a blue marker?
He's holding the blue marker.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. Blue marker. There's the pass.
Okay.
Good job, team. Who would have thought we'd be doing art stream with
Blue.
engineering majors?
This is us, right?
Yes.
Now, there's a reason there's nobody on this side of the field. Because they don't matter. Because we're gonna win the game on our own. We don't even need this right now.
What about the
okay?
cooperation zone?
Yeah,
Right
what
now-
about the cooperation zone, Krishna?
Okay. We'll think about that later, okay?
We get 5 links.
Exactly. We could get 5 links. So
Just
so
get the
right
fifth
now,
link. It's so simple.
In terms of strategy, we need to think about our team only, okay? What if our teammates are, I don't think we have a red marker, but what if they're cinder blocks, okay?
Bro, what if? That would be crazy.
If you only have cinder blocks on your team, you don't even get points for moving during odd time. But the solution, okay,
Easy solution.
is our robot.
Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Not a cinder block?
Exactly. It's a robot on wheels. So
It's a cinder block with wheels.
it's not a cinder block on wheels. You can see it's blue, okay?
Yeah, a
So-
cinder block would never be blue. That's not possible. One of the silliest things I've heard all day, Piero.
Okay, we're gonna start off the match.
Yeah.
By preferably at the moment, okay, the plan is to push a little cone or a cube, let's say, onto the ground scoring station.
Okay.
Right? And then promptly, this is a little bit larger actually, promptly moving to a balanced location, okay, which we could solve. But, if we don't get balanced, it's fine, as long as we're on top of this kind of area where we score 8 points.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's, how many points is that, Krishna?
That's 11.
That's 11 points
It's 11.
in autonomous mode for an RI3D robot?
That's more than both of our teammates combined.
Oh my goodness.
In this scenario, at least.
We're going
Now,
crazy.
No, like red over here, like I won't even use their color because like
Yeah, red team,
You know.
we don't have a red marker because clearly, as previously stated, they
They're
don't
tribute.
matter.
they don't matter.
They
But,
don't matter.
Like they're like I don't even know. This isn't even a cinder block. Probably game piece
Okay.
of a robot over there.
Yeah.
They're not even gonna score it all the time.
Yeah.
So like
Really, we're the only ones on the field.
Exactly. So now
Okay.
like what's the plan from here? You might ask.
I would ask that.
You absolutely book it, okay? There's some room here. This is our zone, right?
Yep.
You book it over there. There's cones. There's cubes, as we called them yesterday.
The spherical cubes.
Exactly. You got a few of those.
ball
you got more
cubes.
cones. Like it's a whole party over there. So what you do, you just run it. Now there is no penalty for how many objects you touch while in this zone.
Uh-huh.
So you could just run through it, move them as much as you want, pick up one, and then you come back, right?
Yep.
Right here.
Whatever one you like most.
And you know where that's going?
Where's it going to go, Krishna?
On the furthest peg.
On the third tier
Because
of peg.
our robot can reach that.
Wow. With its four-arm technology.
Over 3 foot past the robot arm. Okay.
That's
I'd like to
insane.
point that out. And
How is that even possible?
we'll just remove this brick because it's getting in the way.
Okay.
So we'll push it out of the way.
So we push it out of the way in the game.
It's like
Push the
stuck
cinder
over here,
block.
you know?
Get that out of there.
It's stuck over here. So now, not only have we scored 11 points during Autumn,
We've scored.
now scored an additional code on the furthest peg. Now, do you know how many points that's worth?
That's worth 5 points, Krishna.
That's 5 points. So
That
what
gets
are we
us to a
at?
total of 16 points.
16 points.
Wowee,
right?
you know?
Now,
That's
not all.
insane.
That's not all. Because you can also bring a cube over and score it right next to that.
So we're going to make 2 whole trips. What do we have? 2 minutes and 15
actually.
seconds?
3. Now, what are we at here? Right.
That puts
That's
you at a
15
grand total of
additional
26 points.
Exactly. So
Wow.
now, we add those 10. You got 26 points. 26 points.
Plus another 5 because there's a link.
You're right.
We just had a comment from Piro, plus 5 for getting a link. Oh my goodness, how could we
Now
forget
look at this, right?
the link points?
That 3 objects on the furthest plus 5, that's a lot of points.
Yeah.
Now
20 points
we
right
just-
there.
Now this was just in the first 15 seconds of teleop.
Oh wow, we're going to do this. We've got a 5-second cycle time.
Plenty of time, okay? Because
Krishna, you don't seem particularly convinced about that 5-second cycle time. I just can't help but notice.
I was
That's also including managing time to push the cinder block out of the way.
it only decreases.
It
as
only
you go on.
okay, so you get faster
Yeah.
as you go. Krishna,
Okay, we have one link.
as fun as this is, I feel like we might want to take a slightly more serious tone.
Okay. So I feel like the idea that we don't have teammates is a good way to think about this beginning of the game, though.
At
Because-
least for our competition, because we will only be competing against RI3D robots, which, historically speaking, don't tend to perform particularly well.
This is true, but it's
Including our
important to
robot.
know-
Sometimes we're the cinder block. It happens, you
it's
know.
important to know what your robot can do, right?
Mhm.
Like if you build a robot that can only move cones, then you got to realize that you're going to be limited in terms of you're only going to be able to score 3 links.
That's
Right.
correct, on the bottom level.
Exactly. So like, there's these limitations that you gotta pay attention, and you can't get the cooperation bonus if you're. Well,
It's true.
I guess
You
3,
could.
You could.
You
All
could
three
get
in the bottom.
cooperation.
A little bit difficult, but now let's say your teammates happen to be really good at scoring cones.
What if?
What should you focus on? Should you focus on bringing cones from the opposing side over to you, or should you focus on bringing cubes or bubes, and scoring them? So I think our focus was we want to be able to do both.
Absolutely.
We want to be able to have pretty fast cycle time, which is why we chose a kind of a speed-oriented approach. We put extra work into the code for drivers, making sure they can switch between whichever drive, I guess arcade or tank, whichever they're more comfortable with. Different speeds. We got many different things in the code, which you can check out on our GitHub. But mainly, we want to be able to have a fast cycle time, but also score both cubes and cones, okay? And I think our goal is, again, 11 points during Autumn, pretty doable. We want at least 3 game pieces.
During
Okay.
teleop.
During teleop.
Okay, so 3 game pieces during teleop.
Preferably on the furthest location.
Yeah, I mean, we
That's-
did build the robot specifically to reach back there, and you get way more points
Exactly.
for being back there. It's 67% more than the middle row? That's a lot of percent, you know?
And you can score in the center to get that cooperation bonus.
Absolutely.
Might as well get a few ranking points there. And like with teammates, you're only going to increase the score. Because if you
Mhm.
can already do this much, there's no stopping us.
Fantastic.
Exactly.
And so we also wanted to talk a little bit about our thought process on balancing the charging station. I believe it's called charging station. How are we thinking about balancing on there?
No, I think that's a little bit more of a mechanical question. If you want to ask Piro.
Piro, let's talk about the charging station. Come on up, Piro. Let's get you in front of the whiteboard. Let's see it. There he is. There's our guy.
So,
That's him.
charging station, for those of you who don't know, probably all know, there's the little platform
Okay.
with the 2 little ramps and then a section in the center. This center section kind of balances on a box that kind of exists underneath there. So when you put weight on one side, the whole thing ends up kind of tilting up on that box, creating a pretty steep angle.
Okay.
You want to have it balanced.
So you get more points for having it balanced.
Yep.
So ideally, we need it to be balanced with the
Correct.
robot on top of it.
With the robot on top
Yeah.
over here.
So you got to get the robot up there, and then you got to get the robot in the center so that it,
Yeah,
nice and flat.
or at least not necessarily center, but the CG in the center, right? So center of gravity in the center of the thing. So
Great.
for us, because we're building this robot in 3 days,
Mhm.
we will be driving and using like our drivetrain to balance.
So, in teleop, in the end game,
Yes.
we're just gonna adjust manually.
Yes.
Seeing like, oh, we're tipping backwards, we should drive forwards.
Yep.
Great answer. And how are we doing that during autonomous mode then?
Driving.
So we won't be doing it in autonomous mode.
Most likely not, unless we can get lucky.
Lucky. We did speak yesterday about a certain computer vision problem. Krishna
did.
spoke on
Krishna,
it
yeah.
At length. Do you want to talk about that again, Krishna?
It seems like, we're planning to use the April tags, kind of as like to show off how it works. And by doing that, our camera is going to get used up looking at the field rather than a level. So the computer
Do you want to
vision-
clarify that exactly? What do you mean by looking at a level?
So the computer vision solution to the
The
problem-
solution, you
the
say.
solution. There's
Okay.
only one solution.
There's only one.
So
There's no other way a team could fix this problem with
Well,
computer vision?
I'll tell you the solution. So many teams know that there's a NavX.
There was a comment about NavX for Auton balance in the
Yes.
chat.
So
We don't have a NavX.
So the problem is NavXs are a little expensive,
and we want to make something accessible for newer or perhaps under-resourced teams.
exactly. And,
So if we
like,
just, use everything that's incredibly expensive, like Swerve Drive, NavXs,
it'd be a little bit difficult. And like a NavX is really useful. So if you have one, it's amazing.
yeah,
It can get you a lot of
Nothing
stuff.
wrong
You
with
can
having
get,
one. Absolutely not.
It's actually perfect for this autonomous mode balancing. You can tell exactly what angle you are, and when you reach a kind of a flat angle on top of this ramp, just stop and you're set, right? But like the computer vision solution, we're gonna go away from. I don't think it's viable on our robot. But the plan is you have, let's say, some sort of camera, okay?
we have a camera.
Yeah, and it's looking this way.
Okay,
And you just point it at a level, the one with the little
like a carpenter's level.
Correct, with the little bubble here.
Very low tech.
And literally, you do blob detection on this little bubble, and when the blob happens to be in the center, you're level. Okay.
You just tell
stop.
the robot to stop.
Exactly.
Great.
And if the blob's to the left, you're tilted.
Mm-hmm.
And same.
That's
thing
not
with
good.
the- And it's a pretty simple solution. Blob detection you can actually do with all the WPI included libraries. There's actually a guide on the WPI lib docs on how to do simple blob detection with their vision system and a simple USB camera. So, also if you look at our code from last year, there is some blob detection that we did for the balls in the game.
Wonderful. There were actually two things that I wanted to clarify. One was how many were we thinking of for auto? I assume you mean game pieces to score. Just one. Probably just going to want to score the only one that we start with at the beginning of the game. Doing anything more ambitious would probably require more time that we have at our disposal. And then we had a question from Colin saying, why is this better than an accelerometer? I believe referring to your computer vision solution. The computer vision solution, my mistake. So
I
why
will
is this
say
better
that
than an accelerometer?
An accelerometer is better than this solution, but
Ooh,
this solution is cheaper. I will say that.
fair enough.
You simply
Better
all you
on the
need is a
wallet.
camera.
Just need a
And,
camera and a level,
camera-
of course.
And the camera has multiple uses. You can put it on your smart dashboard so your driver can see more clearly.
Mm-hmm.
You can use it for general blob detection, find those bubes,
Yeah.
because they're basically blobs. I don't know how else to describe them.
Yeah, they're not particularly shapely.
And you can do it for cones if you throw a color mask over it.
Yeah. Do you want to talk briefly about an accelerometer and why that might be better than computer vision for this solution?
I think there's a lot of better solutions. I mean, a lot of things. If we go back to the NavX here,
Sure.
The main thing is you can know your angle. Like if your robot's on an incline, and especially with this ramp, there's two different angles. I believe it's 11 and 15 degrees. So when it's like you're like this, when you enter it, it becomes. Is it 11 when you enter?
Well, because when you enter it, this ends up being a different angle than this even. So this
Okay.
piece will be somewhere here, and then the actual ramp actually is like farther up. Like it makes some
Okay.
sort of weird.
So you got 11 and 15. If I remember correctly, make sure you check the manual. for
Check
that
the
one.
manual,
Exactly.
absolutely.
But I do believe it's 11 and 15. And what you see is like you can kind of go at a speed faster here when your robot's at 11 degrees, which you can read off of your NavX. And then you hit the 15 degree ramp. Maybe you want to go a little bit slower so you don't overshoot.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally,
It is 11.
Or if you speed up even more, you could do a cool jump, maybe even a flip.
that could be the case, maybe resulting in some penalties and a non-functional robot. in
But
the
you would be the people's choice winner.
That would be the case.
And isn't that what we all want?
I mean, the people's choice is the first choice, you know.
Absolutely.
But you know, you get to this higher angle, 15 degrees. We have confirmation here. You can slow down a little bit more, and then finally, when it levels out, you'll be at 0 degrees, and that's when you stop. Also, I was wondering, Pira, if you would address a concern. You know, as you know, our robot is kind of like a C.
Yep. Correct.
Okay, and our intake happens to be like really close to the ground here, right?
Yep.
So how do you plan on making sure we can climb the ramp going forward?
We lift the intake.
Could you say that just slightly louder, please?
We'll lift our intake. So probably going onto the ramp. If you remember from what it looks like in the other room, we have robot wheels, and then the 4-bar will be here. So going onto the ramp, to avoid hitting the front of it, we can just have it in an upright position. Honestly, for most travel, this upright position is probably safer for most of our stuff, just because when it's at the lowest position, it's extremely close to the ground. And that was just because of packaging constraints.
Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. I think that mostly covers general strategy for the game. So a quick recap of that being that we want to be able to pick up both types of game pieces. We have a plan to be able to write cones that are knocked over on the ground, although that hasn't been implemented or finalized, so we can't really speak on that extensively. We don't have any plan to level the charging pad during autonomous mode, although we will hope to score one game piece on the ground level, and then of course drive onto the charging pad during auton. And then as for endgame with the charging pad, we're just going to do it manually. I think that's about everything. Did we miss anything? Anything we missed?
Unless you want more specifics about the grabber or anything like mechanically with the grabber or the lift.
Would you like to talk more specific about the grabber or the lift? Because we've got time.
If you want me to.
Please. Why don't we talk about the grabber and the lift? You want to do a little diagram?
Sure.
Oh my goodness, we love diagrams.
I don't know a whole lot about the lift, but I do know a lot about the grabber. I did do the CAD for the grabber.
Oh my goodness, CAD for the grabber?
Yes.
Is that CAD for the grabber going to be available somewhere?
It is.
Is that place determined yet? We might not have actually determined. Okay. To be determined.
Yes.
CAD for grabber will exist.
It will eventually be there.
Somewhere. It'll probably be under a FAM account on some website.
More than likely.
We'll get back to you on that.
Yes. So, one thing that came up as an issue is having a grabber that can handle both the cone and the cube.
Yeah. Two vastly different shapes.
Very different
Different
shapes.
textures, different everything, really.
Yes. It can be quite difficult in order to be able to grab both of them. One thing that we wanted our grabber to have is one fixed arm, just for movement simplicity. So we have our one fixed arm.
And simplicity, of course, because we have such a limited times table.
Exactly.
Yeah. For teams with more time, we would recommend that perhaps you do something more sophisticated because you'll have more time to think about better ideas.
Exactly. So we have our one fixed arm, which just stays perpendicular to our mounting bar. And then we also have an arm that is capable of moving, and that is rotated by a motor. It just spins ever so slightly to bring the arm in. So we are using compliant wheels because they're squishy.
Green Anti-Mark compliant wheels.
Yes.
Everyone's favorite.
They are the squishiest ones of the compliant wheels. So they work very well for grabbing. They're very grippy, which is great on the cone because the cone can be a little bit slippery, but the way that the rubber interacts with the cone, it's very secure. We tested this earlier today. We had our grabber inside of a vise, and then we grabbed the cone with it using a drill, and then we shook it aggressively, and it held very well.
Aggressive shaking, always
yes.
a great test.
Yes, so it was really good to use the compliant wheels for this.
Okay.
One thing that we had to kind of figure out was, because one is fixed and both arms aren't angling in together, was how the pieces would kind of fit together and how the wheels would fit together in order to have the most contact on the game piece. So one thing that we considered is just having two even arms, both with the wheels evenly spaced and symmetrical. This could work, but it will allow for mostly just 3 points of contact on the game pieces, so only 3 out of the 4 wheels would be touching, which isn't a huge issue just because of how squishy and grippy the wheels are, but we wanted to have the most contact possible. So we were able to bring the non-moving arm in a little bit, so it's shorter than the moving arm, and that allowed the wheels to kind of interlock with each other. So when it moves together, it fits together more like this than symmetrically or even.
So it's an even tighter fit then.
Yes, it's a tighter fit, which works very well on both the cone and the cube. The cone kind of fits in between in this area, but because when we grab the cone, the cube, sorry, the arm is still very wide open. The cube fits more so like that. That's close enough to the cube because
The cube is rather amorphous anyways.
Yes. So we were able to have 4 points of contact on both the cone and the cube successfully with this.
Great.
And CAD helped us figure out the dimensions of that rather than having to do a lot of work to change things around after it was all bolted together.
And how complex did you actually have to get in CAD? Are we literally just talking about circles in CAD and then we just moved them around and saw how it worked? Or
Pretty much. So I made some rectangles, which represents the box tubing that we were using. I made some hexagons to represent the hex shaft that we were using. And then I just took that and basically extruded it like every ½ inch so that I could adjust it very quickly in an assembly. We also downloaded the Compliant Wheels CAD file from AndyMark, which means that I didn't have to do any CAD for the wheels. I just had to put it in there, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
And then same thing for the game pieces. I didn't have to CAD the game pieces. You just download it from the first website. It should be with all of the like field dimensions and stuff. You can download a
that's
step
on
file.
firstinspires.org, right?
Yes.
Beautiful.
So we only had to CAD.
So most of that modeling that saved us time in real life
Yes.
was actually just downloading assets from provided resources,
Yes.
either AndyMark or First Inspires. So really, all you have to know is how to draw a couple of rectangles and a couple of holes in those rectangles, and you're off to the races with this.
Yes. And
Great.
It helped save a lot of time.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Great idea for teams.
So I think that's it for the grabber. I did not work on the lift very much, but if
Piero, do you wanna talk
Piero
about
would
arm?
like to speak about that.
Piero, yay! Piero. Our favorite guy named Piero, probably of all time.
Appreciate it.
I mean, it's a tough category. A lot of good contenders in there, but you keep rising to the top. What can I say?
So for the 4-bar,
The
right,
4-bar, yes.
we did make a CAD sketch, right? So nothing 3D, but we did go in there just to validate that our numbers work, and it kind of looks something like this. And we'll post this later. But basically, I created a bumper zone. I created a little bumper in the front.
Lovely.
And then out here, I created the stick for that 3rd level. Messing with the geometry in here now, I created a pole from the center somewhere here that is our upright. So I set this equal to 53 inches, gave us an inch of leeway because manufacturing tolerances.
Absolutely.
At the top here, you have your little pivot point, and then I created an arm that went from here to, was 8 inches originally from the inside of the frame because we were planning on having the entire intake stay in there, or the grabber arm, but now it's going to be folded up, so it actually goes to a point that's 4 inches from the edge of the frame, so from here to about here with like an inch above the ground.
Do you know that distance off the top of your head?
Which one? Oh,
The length of the arm?
Yeah, so in the CAD at least it's 46.69 inches. In real life, it is a little bit different. I don't remember if it's a little bit larger or a little bit smaller. I think
Okay.
it's a little bit larger just because in the CAD this is measuring center to center distance, but in real life, you obviously need material around
Yes.
your holes.
So it's about 47 inches then,
Probably.
give or take.
That's for this top bar, or this is, I guess, from the bottom bar goes to here, and then the top bar goes to a point that's 6 inches above that.
Okay. So we have 6 inches vertically between these 2 bars in the 4-bar system.
Yep, and this is accurate to real life. Anyway, so I created this sketch, kind of constrained it. Then after that, I made these all construction lines, and then created another set of arms that you could move up and down, and then made these.
Do you want a different marker? That one looks like it's
just
dying.
the way I'm holding it.
Okay.
I made these distances equal to these construction lines over here.
Can you fix that bottom bar at the top? It bothers me just a tiny bit.
The top, this one, or this one.
This guy right here. You just can't really see it on the screen.
Oh yeah, okay. So now we have these two that are actual lines that you can move up and down. with this geometry staying in place, and then we mess around with this distance. So I could increase this distance manually and it would automatically update whatever the length of these arms were to test to see if we could make it to this length. So if other teams are doing similar-ish ideas, you can use this sketch as kind of a starting point and mess around with some of the parameters and get a feel of how long this is going to stretch out. And you can kind of drag it around and stuff.
So in reality, what we're looking at is we're looking at how far back from the front of our robot we can set our uprights to mount the 4-bar,
Yep.
right?
I mean,
While still being able to reach that
exactly,
third level.
yeah. And there's a couple parameters you can actually change. So not only how far back, but you can also change how much space you leave for your intake, and then also how high up the ground is the minimum position. Because to get this minimum position of 1 inch, we actually had to kind of offset the arms. So if you're looking at it from like the front, the arms for the 4-bar are actually off by 2 inches. So they actually kind of fold into each other.
Okay, so we have one set of the arms mounted on the outside of the upright and one side mounted on the inside. That way they don't interfere with each other.
Yeah. And that's how we got like that squish.
Perfect. Wonderful. Great.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's about everything. Yeah. Did we miss anything, guys?
A little note while we were talking over here earlier.
Of course.
We realized that for the balancing during Auton, you can actually use your camera to look at the April tags to see your pose related to it. And we haven't figured out the details, but that could perhaps be used to make sure when you're looking at it straight on, you are balanced. But if you drive backward onto the right.
I see. So you'd have to be driving backwards or have a backwards facing camera, but you could use the April tags to determine the exact orientation that your robot is, and therefore how you could balance
Exactly.
the charging
when you're
station.
looking at it at a specific angle, you know you're balanced. Well,
So really,
yeah.
it's another computer vision solution.
It is a vision solution in the end, but
Aren't they all at the end of the day? Isn't it all
really is.
just one big computer vision problem? You know what I
it
mean?
is. We'll keep you updated on this strategy, but who
Wonderful.
knows?
I think that's about all we need to talk about. Maybe we'll do a quick recap of like everything and answer some questions if any questions are had. And that might be the rest. That might be the whole stream. What time is it right now, guys? 8:30. We've been streaming for 1 hour. Oh my goodness.
There you go.
Time really does fly when we're having fun, isn't that right? If you guys want, I can recap. We can all have a seat. You know, have a little seat. got the boardroom table. You know, feel official. I'm not okay. You're not okay. I don't want to be too far away so that they can still hear me.
I got it.
Okay, so where are we right now? Day 2, 31, 32 hours in. We almost have a fully constructed robot. We are getting dangerously close. Our chassis was done at this time yesterday. We have our uprights mounted. We have our 4-bar mounted. We have our grabber, the hand mounted. That's all there.
Almost.
It's probably done. Technically, it's on the robot, so it's mounted. Doesn't work. It doesn't fully work it, but it is mounted.
It's gonna come off.
That's okay. It's technically on right now, as far as I know. It counts. We have a completed electrical board mounted on the robot. It's not all hooked up. The motors aren't all hooked up yet, but it's mounted. I believe we have our code ready to get started as soon as motors are hooked up to the electrical board. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Code it's ready to begin as soon as everything is plugged in,
Yep.
which is incredible, which means that we'll probably have a drivable drivetrain probably in a few hours, we think.
Maybe we might have to dig into tomorrow for that one.
Well, possibly in a few hours, definitely by tomorrow, early tomorrow. That's fantastic. That's great. The only thing that really still needs to be added to the robot is we have to fix a few of the details with the grabber. We have to add that little pole to right cones that have fallen over on the ground. That's something we definitely want to look into. And then
LEDs.
oh wow, those are a given. Those are a given. We don't even have to talk about the LEDs. Fun fact, teams, if you have LEDs, make sure you put them on your robot. They do add horsepower. That'll really help you whenever you get into like a shoving fest in the middle of the map or in the middle of the
Field.
That's the word. In the middle of the field, those LEDs will really help you out. They'll make you stand out too. So, people will be looking at you when you do good things, or if you do bad things. But just don't do the bad things. You'll be fine. Great. I think we're really looking really solid right now. Quite excited for how the robot's going to turn out. Definitely need to do a lot of testing tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have maybe even 6 full hours of testing, because with where mechanical is right now, and with the fact that we don't have that much really to program for, there aren't that many motors, not that many moving parts, right? It feels like we'll probably have a fully functioning robot early tomorrow, which will give us most of the day just to iron out details, to see what's working and possibly fix it, which is really incredible. I think that'll be a really good process to try and show, especially for teams who struggle with doing anything after they have their first design together and realizing that perhaps not everything was exactly perfect as they had hoped, because nothing ever is. Yeah, it's great.
Danger Davism has a question. When is the RI3D competition?
RI3D competition.
It's to be determined. We don't have a...
So as of right now, to the best of my knowledge, there will not be a Robot in 3 Days competition in Michigan. The typical competition that we have gone to in the past has been hosted by an organization called FAC, which is the first alumni collegiate competition, and that exists typically in Michigan with a number of individuals from different colleges around Michigan. And popular schools that have attended in the past have been the University of Michigan. Last year we had actually 2 Michigan teams, one from FAMNM, which is us, and then we also had the Michigan Engineering Zone, which is a group of mentors that work with a number of teams in Detroit. I don't know all the details on them, but I'm sure they have a website if anyone wants to find them. As well as Kettering almost always has an RI3D team. In fact, I'm sure that they have an RI3D going right now, and they've probably got some videos on their YouTube channel. They might even be streaming. Feel free to check them out for some more ideas. They always put together really solid robots. MSU typically puts one together. In the past, I believe, did Saginaw put one together? I think one year Saginaw had one.
I think Saginaw and
Yeah.
Oakland University normally has one.
Yep, Oakland, definitely. And then I think Ferris State had one a couple years back, but not recently. And then that's most of us. There are a few other colleges that will have one year and then not have one the next, but the most consistent ones in the mid-Michigan area, I believe, are ourselves, Kettering, and MSU, to the best of my knowledge, although I could be incorrect, and I'm very sorry to any schools that I've forgotten. But yeah, as of yet, no competition for us, which is okay. That's not our main goal. Main goal is to help. Any other questions? No. I think that's the stream. I think that's a successful stream, team. I guess that's all from us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow, 7:30, same time. Everyone have a wonderful night. Good luck in your build season.